Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for 25 productivity tips and tools to give lawyers more time, money, and happiness as part of the LTRC Industry Insight Series. Our speaker today is Joyce Bradford. Joyce is an attorney and consultant. She spent 7 years at the North Carolina Bar Association as a practice management advisor and CLE manager. In her time there, she advised law firms on KPIs, marketing strategy, technological investments, and strategic development. She is currently the director of CosmoLex's North Carolina offices. Joyce uses her experience in the industry to help train her colleagues and clients on the legal environment, the details that matter to legal professionals, and what trends will affect the legal market. Thank you all for joining us. We'll now begin the webinar.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. It is absolutely a delight and a pleasure and privilege to join you today. As Sasha just noted, I am an attorney. I have been licensed since 2012. Lucky enough to have spent a significant period of time in the legal technology field at this point, and I absolutely love what I do. Helping lawyers find solutions for everyday, seemingly mundane problems is one of my absolute joys in life. And maybe that sounds extremely nerdy, and that's fine. You call me nerdy if you want to, but it is definitely a privilege and something that I take a lot of gratitude in being able to experience. So let's just jump right into this here. So what are we going to do today? Let's put together a little roadmap. We're going to talk about ways to find more money, find more time, and find more happiness. And ultimately, I would like for you to reach a point of zen and perhaps even boundless joy by the end of this webinar, although that is probably too high of a bar to set for ourselves. So let's do this. Let's set an individual goal in each one of these sections, the money, the time, and the happiness. I hope you will write down or take notes to tips, hacks, or apps that will be helpful to you in your life. And maybe it'll be a stretch, but I promise you just exploring over the next 30 days, 6 potential solutions really will help you find more of whatever it is that you are looking for. So the first thing we're going to talk about is money. I mean, obviously, money is something that's extremely important. That's why we go to work. You are definitely in the minority. But why do we become lawyers and legal professionals? Generally, it is to affect change in some way and to give back to our communities and to be helpful. But money is a major driver. Whether you are at a large firm or you operate your own small firm, having money, making money, finding money makes a lot of sense. So we're going to cover just a few solutions here to both earn more and spend less, because really that's what we're talking about, spending or saving. So let's just jump right in. First and foremost, everyone, please stop printing. I know that there is this need to have paper in a law office. There are some things where it is absolutely necessary to print, whether you're creating work product for your client, you are delivering something in paper form to a particular court that needs something in duplicate or triplicate. There are legitimate reasons to print. However, in most cases, a large stand-up printer is no longer necessary for a firm. So let's sort of address this from a different way than we normally do. Let's start with the cost of a printer. First is the hard cost of owning an actual printer, and that's going to run anywhere between, from a stand-up, that's what we're generally talking about here, from $5,000 to $25,000, depending on the size of your firm and your printing needs. You add to that toner and paper supplies, and you're very rapidly increasing the cost of your printer. Now, a tremendous number of law firms have begun leasing their printers. Well, that certainly opens up a security risk if you're not adequately wiping your printers. But more than that, it's a time factor. You are spending time at the printer, you're replacing printer parts and accessories, and you are creating a need to store all of the files that you have created on behalf of your documents or your clients, pardon me. There's generally, in most cases, not a necessity to do that for the majority of what is in our client files that we're printing. And that's floor space, that's an office, that's an opportunity to bring in another attorney and clear out all those filing cabinets, right? Printers are expensive to maintain, to operate, and to store everything that they create. And ultimately, they just make you so angry. There is not a single person here who has never been angry at a printer. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. So let's also make this a joy hack, and let's print less. Save to PDF, use client portals, communicate with your clients digitally, and for heaven's sake, have a field day with your with your staff and let them beat the ever-loving paper products out of your printer. Next thing I want to talk to you about is specifically a CosmoLex tool. So pardon me for lapsing into a little bit of sales here, but I do think that this matters a lot. It is specifically our money finder tool in CosmoLex. What this tool does, and I promise I'll spend no more than 30 seconds on this, what this tool does is it allows you to see all of your non-billed activities in all of your matters and allows you to then bill them. We track time all the time on a regular basis, but we do not always do a great job of putting that track time on an invoice. You would be shocked how much time you spend and don't end up billing for it, even though it's a billable activity. Money finders matter. It's a great way to pick up $100, $200, even $1,000, depending on the size of your firm and how proficient your team is at billing. And how good they are at building their invoices, tracking their pre-bill reports, and making sure they're accurate. All done. See, no more time than that was necessary. Let's talk about ChromMeta for just a moment. All right, pretend we're all in the same room for a second and just raise your hand if you've ever heard of ChromMeta. If you haven't, that's just fine, but it is one of the more well-established tools that folks are using in law firms in order to get the most out of their billable time. So what ChromMeta does is it's a plugin. It works with just about every practice management solution on the market, CosmoLex included, but it sort of doesn't matter what you're working with. There's a really good chance that ChromMeta works, and it passively tracks your time. What I mean by that is it will tell you how much time you spent researching a specific matter, let's say in Fastcase or CaseMaker or Westlaw or Lexis. It'll say how much time you spent on the phone if you have a VoIP solution. It'll tell you how much time you spent in your internet browser, how much time you spent working on a specific document in Microsoft Word, so on and so forth. All of those things that you might have forgotten to click a timer on, ChromMeta will passively track on your computer. You download it to your personal computer, works on a Mac or a PC, and it will communicate back with your practice management solution. It will see which solution or which matter you are most likely working on, and will say, it will give you a report at the end of the day and tell you this is likely billable, and if it can identify a matter that it should be assigned to, it will automatically assign it to that matter, so you can track all of that time that you might have forgotten about. Now, maybe you're thinking, oh, well, I track just about everything. We're talking 15, 20, 30 minutes here or there. There's not a single young associate at a large law firm who is trying to bill 60 or 70 hours and is going to want to miss 30 minutes here or there. It's incredibly important. It's equally important for solos who are trying to make sure that they have the most accurate invoices. And I will tell you, even in a larger firm, when you have the ability to track invoices with such granularity, you have the option now of writing down your bills or writing off, that's the correct term, writing off certain portions of your bill. And you tell a client, yeah, I've tracked all this time for you, but I'm just going to write this off. That's a pretty significant way to generate goodwill. I don't want you to do that all the time. Very clearly, your services have value, and it's important to demonstrate that value, but being able to get extremely granular and accurate gives you the power to make good decisions, to build rapport, to build trust, and to get people to pay your bills, your invoices very quickly. The next thing I want to talk about is MileIQ. This is specifically for the soft costs that are associated with running a law firm. And this is really geared towards solos and small business owners. Anytime you're using your car, or traveling for business, you should be tracking your mileage and tracking it as a soft cost back to your clients. Really quick, high-level accounting, which most of you probably understand, difference between hard cost and soft costs. For a law firm, a hard cost is a cost that is associated with a specific matter. A soft cost is a cost that is not associated with a specific matter, but is business related. You need to be able to track that, and you need to be able to allocate a portion of your soft cost back to your matters, back to a practice area, back to a specific attorney, so on and so forth, in order to be able to recoup that amount of money and make the best decisions possible for your firm. You need to have a full and accurate picture of your law firm's financial perspective. MileIQ is a great way to track soft costs that I guarantee you most of you who own your law firms are not tracking right now. Incredibly easy to install, tracks everything that you do, and will give you either a mileage amount or a cost amount based on the federal rate or whatever rate you would like to put in, and these are adjustable so you can accurately track that. All right, let's talk about location alerts. Now, this is specifically an Apple product, so if you have an Android, you can just zone out for just a moment here. If you have anything other than an Apple or an Android, I would like to talk to you, and I would like to know why you made that choice. If you have a BlackBerry, please give me a call. Please give me a call. I want to know. I want to talk to you about it. But let's talk about location alerts in Apple for just a moment here. If you are like me, if you are anything like me, you are frequently out and about town running errands, trying to manage your life, and sometimes you need to be reminded about things based on where you are. Maybe you go to the grocery store, you need a reminder to go to the dry cleaner. Location alerts are great for that, but let's talk about finding money and doing things the right way. So if you are out and about in a specific area in town, you can set your location alert in Apple very easily, set a reminder, click on the info icon right at the right-hand side of the task. You can select information and you can add location alerts to get a ping when you arrive or when you leave. So if you have something that you need to take down to the Register of Deeds office, or if you have something that you need to take to the clerk in order to get something filed quickly, or you want to make sure that your legal assistant is doing this, this is a great way to make sure that you are managing your time correctly and getting everything done in the shortest period of being out as possible. It is absolutely all about efficiency, and I love it. I will give you one other hot tip about location alerts. If you're like me, there are some places where I would rather not connect to the Wi-Fi, or I would like to have a notification to prompt me to do something specific. For example, when I go into a courthouse, maybe I have logged onto their Wi-Fi before and I was doing something non-confidential, but my phone will automatically connect or remember the Wi-Fi that I have connected to previously. Most of us in our courthouses do not have secure Wi-Fi connections, and I would not recommend you connecting to the Wi-Fi without a VPN. That said, you can set a location reminder every single time you get near the courthouse to turn off your Wi-Fi or to go into airplane mode, whichever you prefer, to make sure you are never connected via an insecure connection or an unsecure connection. And I think that that is just good basic data security practice. Acorn Investing, I think most attorneys generally have some type of investment strategy that they are lucky enough to be able to have a professional advise them on. However, that's not always the case. If you are newer to investing, if you're younger, say, or if you haven't started putting money aside into a retirement account, Acorn is a great way to do this. Not only can you invest regularly throughout the day, just the change that you would receive back from a transaction, 40 cents here, 96 cents there. You can also invest on a regular basis at any time in a variety of accounts. So in Acorn Investing, you are going to have your investments diversified across, I think it's 70 different 7,000 stocks and bonds and you can regularly check on this, any of your investments. I think that they are absolutely fantastic, and all of us should be investing on an absolutely regular basis. All right. Let's talk about Trim for just a moment. Now, this is a less popular app. Acorns you might have heard about, especially if you listen to podcasts, very popular there. Trim is less popular. Now, what on earth is Trim? Trim is an incredibly powerful app that will do everything from renegotiate your ongoing or reoccurring bills to helping you achieve your personal savings goals. Now, what's great about Trim is the cost of it. Trim's cost is variable, but it's 33% of what you save. If Trim doesn't save you any money, Trim doesn't cost you anything. So you are reducing, if Trim works for you, your costs, or you've got a recoupable cost of 66% of what you would have saved. But Trim will give you an idea of what you're currently spending, what your recurring costs are. It will give you access to credit card information. It gives you advice on investment opportunities. And it really does help you pay down your debt, build your credit if that's something that you've struggled with. And ultimately, it's a fantastic app to negotiate. I do think that it's 100% underrated, and everyone should take a look at it. Next, speaking of credit cards and saving money, let's talk about NerdWallet. This is another one you've probably heard of if you have um, uh, any type of credit card comparison, or if you're listening to podcasts. So give me 1 second, make sure we're sharing things. There we go. All right, wonderful. So what does NerdWallet do? This is another incredibly powerful site. You have probably heard of it, but let's just make sure you're aware of what it does. So NerdWallet employs somewhere right now about 80 credit experts that give you advice on credit cards, whether that's for your business, your personal credit cards, and it matches your personal goals with the credit card that you should choose. So maybe you want travel points, maybe you want cash back, maybe you want exceptionally low fees. All of those things you can get with NerdWallet. However, you're also going to get access to your credit score. You're going to get advice not only on credit cards, but also the right savings accounts, which most of us don't think about much. You just have a bank that you bank with, and most of us assume all savings accounts are the same. They're not. It'll give you advice on brokerage firms that you should use, as well as mortgages and personal loans. So absolutely, we should be taking advantage of what NerdWallet has to offer. Let's see. I've got just a couple more here. This is Honey. You have probably heard of Honey. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it. It is an application. It's a Google Chrome extension, excuse me. And what it does is it automatically finds discounts that can be applied to any purchase that you're making. Really fantastic tool. It is automatic money that you aren't spending. So save money with Honey, and I cannot overstate how simple it is to do that. Up next is LawPay. LawPay is the largest provider of credit card processing in I believe it's North America now. It's certainly true in the US. LawPay does match credit card processing fees, so that's pretty incredible. But what really sets LawPay apart, if you are not currently using them, is the fact that they are going to process your credit cards in a way that will ensure compliance with your bar association or law society, depending on where you are. They are never going to charge fees right off the top. They're always going to charge the fees back to your operating account. LawPay can even split payments between an operating account and a trust account, depending on where you want money to go. Exceptional credit card provider, and they are doing things that other credit card providers have not been doing. Now, there is competition in the market for LawPay, 100%. They are not the only game in town. I will tell you this, though, from a very personal perspective, I trust LawPay. If I were running my own business, this is the credit card provider I would be using. Everything else I'm telling you about, just about is like, hey, this is pretty cool. LawPay, I'm going to give you a personal endorsement of. Really, really solid solution. All right, let's go ahead and jump right down to finding more time. And we are, oh gosh, we are so late in this, so let's run through this really quickly. Calendly, you all have appointments with clients and you're going back and forth, and your team is trying to find time on your calendar to make things happen. Going back and forth with clients, pain in the butt. Stop doing it. Get a Calendly account. It's free. You can pay for one that's branded. You don't need to, though. And your clients can either schedule 15 or 30-minute meetings with you. You can have buffers between meetings. You can schedule only the days that you want to have client meetings on. And you can do all of this. You can put in information, come into my office, meet by phone, meet by webcam, however you want to do it. This is one of the best time savers I have ever discovered. I've been using Calendly for a long time. Wunderlist is a great way to keep a list of what needs to be done in your law firm. You can either do this on a matter by matter basis if you don't have practice management software, or you can keep track of larger things in your firm that aren't matter or law practice specific. If you have a paid account, you can even assign tasks to other people on your team, but it's a great way to keep track of what you're doing. This is a silly little tip here. This is the Starbucks app. You can order ahead. Most of us are coffee drinkers or go to Starbucks at some point or another. Even if you are one of those people that just insist that Starbucks coffee beans are over roasted. But order ahead is great. And with the app, you do earn points and earn free coffee, ultimately, is what we're talking about here. Very silly, but it is helpful for me, at least. I don't like lines. All right, let's talk about canned responses in both Outlook and in Gmail. A canned response can be crafted pretty easily in either Outlook or Gmail, but rather than type up the same email over and over again, gang, let's get some canned responses in there. Let's do some automatic replies, and let's make sure that we are stopping wasting our time typing the same email 12 times a day. It's not worth it. Think about what you type. Maybe it's just instructions on how to find your office because you're in the back of an office park, right? Maybe it's wire instructions if someone needs to send you money. Create a canned response, do it once, send those responses either in Outlook or Gmail, save time. Bulk invoicing, I do want to give a quick little shout out to CosmoLex one more time here. We have the ability to both bulk invoice and move in bulk transactions from your trust account to your general account or your operating account. Both of those things will save a tremendous amount of time. I'd love to talk to you about why those are important, but we'll circle back to them if you've got questions or if you'd like to schedule a meeting with me. Stay focused. The irony of this not being in focus as a graphic, it's not lost on me, and I hope it's not lost on you. Stay focused will allow you to put a timeline on how long you're allowed to spend on a certain website, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, maybe you're a big TikTok fan, who knows? You can either block it entirely during a certain period in your day, or you can say that you're allowed only 10 minutes so you can stay focused on what really matters. Zapier's fantastic, but we're going to skip over it. This is something you need to pay attention to. Folks, hire a housekeeper. And you might say to yourself, oh, I don't need a housekeeper, or oh, my place is, not large enough for that. It's just me, or my partner, or just our dog. No one likes scrubbing a toilet. If you do, you have chosen the wrong profession. Hiring a housekeeper not only saves you time, so you have more time to do the things you love and the things that are required of you, but it values your time. What are you charging per hour, and what should you be getting paid if you're cleaning your own home? I cannot tell you the difference in the joy quotient in people who have a housekeeper and people who don't, and you can just see them light up. It's worth it. Do it. It's a silly, absolute extravagance, but you should do it. Amazon Subscribe and Save, we're going to skip over this. I do want to mention happiness solutions because I think that they matter. Mindfulness, this is something you have heard a lot about. If you haven't heard about mindfulness and mindfulness practices, you do not subscribe to anything from the ABA nor your local bar association, because this is everywhere. Wellness solutions and mindfulness are what everyone is talking about, and there's a reason. It is because they work. There is a absolute measurable difference in your stress and anxiety level if you have a mindfulness practice versus if you do not. And I highly, highly encourage you to download this is just the mindfulness app. Take a moment, spend a minute, literally 1 minute in the morning or 1 minute in the evening, and work up from there. It will make a difference. Audible, if you're like me, you love to read, but it's not something that you get to as much as you'd like, but you do spend time in traffic. So find those books that you've been after, take a moment, download them on Audible, listen to them. It is a treat for you, and it will make you happier. A gratitude practice, this is another thing you have probably heard about, but saying thank you is absolutely a transformative practice. You hear this frequently when people say, stop saying I'm sorry and start saying thank you. For example, you're late to a meeting. I'm sorry I'm late. No, the right option there is, thank you for waiting. I appreciate that. But regularly moving to a practice of gratitude, again, changes the way your brain functions and does improve your overall quality of life. Again, if you're anything like me, having the ability to come home and cook dinner and not have to go to the grocery store matters. A food delivery service, it's not for everyone, but it's a great way to explore new recipes that you would not have otherwise cooked. And not having to stand in line with your groceries really does make a difference in one's life. Get outside, get outside, get outside, get outside. That's all I'm going to say about nature. There's a lot of science around that. I will tell you, I'll stop for just a moment here to Marie Kondo your workspace. Look around at your space right now. In a very serious and deliberative matter, look around at your desk right now. What's on your desk that doesn't make you happy? Is there a stack of files? Are they not making you happy? Find a better way to store them. Maybe you need a file storage system on your desk to organize them. And maybe you want pretty files. Maybe you just want to go onto Amazon and find floral patterns for your files. And no, it doesn't change what's in the files or the amount of work you have to do, but it makes your desk prettier. And if that makes you happier and it cleans up your space, that's great. What is the junk on your desk? How many Post-its do you have attached to your monitor? Stop, clean it up, be serious and deliberative about how you approach your work, and understand that this is where you live on a regular basis and you need to take it seriously. Don't be overwhelmed by what's there. Accountability to yourself sort of ties in with bullet journals. This is a habit I personally have, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. The Runtastic sleep app, I think this is incredibly helpful because it's great to track your sleep. And then lastly, the Happify app, entirely self-explanatory. I will tell you to just go to your app store and take a look at Happify.
All right, those are all the questions that we have, and that's also all the time that we have for today. I'd like to thank our sponsor, CosmoLex, and all of you for attending our webinar today as part of the LTRC Industry Insight Series. And another quick thank you to Joyce for presenting today. We will now conclude the webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.